Hi, I'm Maggie,
Hi, I'm Grace, and this is
a very bookish podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to a Very Bookish podcast. This is episode 58, and we have a very, very special guest with us. We have Maya. Hi, Maya.
Yes.
How are you?
Hello, I'm so good. How are you guys?
Pretty
Tired.
good.
Tired. I feel that.
Yeah,
I have an accounting test tomorrow morning and I have not studied.
It's the life of a college student. You'll be great.
Yeah, I think I will be.
Yeah.
But for our listeners, this is Maya from Maya_reads_spice on Instagram. And then she also has a book talk. And when I tell you, I've been obsessed. I've been obsessed for a while. And it's like a low-key obsession that I've been festering for a while. And then I was like, Grace, we need to have Maya on. And she's like, we do. And I was like, I'm a planet. So we are
And here I am.
Yeah, we're
here
very
you are.
excited
Perfect.
to have her on. We want to do our shop update first, Grace, and then
Yeah, totally. Before we jump into everything.
Yes. And then forget, and then put it at the very end.
Yeah, totally. So those of you guys who follow our Instagram, you guys have probably been seeing that we've been doing a bunch of sneak peeks on our newest launch that we're doing on Valentine's Day. And here is the big announcement. We are launching a Brutal Birthright Ladies collection. It is going to be a line of t-shirts, one for each of the Brutal Birthright shirts. So we have Ada for our viewers on YouTube. This is a sample t-shirt. It's going to have Ada eating her iconic strawberries right before her wedding. And then we have Nessa in one of her Leos. And then we have Camille in her garage uniform. Oh my gosh. Camille is absolutely my favorite just because she looks so it just embodied her perfectly. And then we have Simone
with a belt,
with Dante's belt in her hand. And then we have Riona with her iconic red hair. And then of course we have Elena with her beautiful, beautiful violet blue eyes. Did I say it right? Elena? It's either one, okay? You could say Elena or you could say Elena. Don't look at me like that, Maggie. Anyways, so we're gonna have
the
one
Russian in me was very offended with that.
I am so sorry. I hear everyone else say Elena. In my head, I say Yelena. Okay, don't come at me. So we're gonna have a tote bag with all of the 6 designs on them, and then one for each t-shirt, and then a jersey shirt that we're hopefully going to have for pre-order on Valentine's Day. We are so excited. We've been working on this for a while. All of our friends have been helping us out with this. It's been really exciting. Anything else, Maggie?
So all shop updates are always on our shop. At a Very Bookish shop, we have our Etsy. We do have some of our stickers still up there, our buttons, our pins, all of that. Our shop is still open, but pre-orders will go up on Monday at 12 at noon Central Time, basically, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The fact that I know that off the top of my head tells you how much I have to think in Pacific Standard Time because of Grace.
For me.
But so we have been doing sneak peeks on our podcast and shop Instagram stories. So if you've been seeing that, you've got some good sneak peeks. We're filming this on Tuesday, so hopefully we'll have, I want to put either Simone or Camille's up tomorrow because those ones are really good designs. But I am very excited for this launch. I hope it goes well. And so everything will be linked down below is basically what I was going to say. So yeah. But now let's introduce Maya. Kind of to get through our shop stuff and finally get to you.
Now that that's out of the way.
Yeah.
So
just push it to the side.
Maya, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do and all of the things you.
Cool. All right. So what month is it? It's February. I've almost been on Book Talk and Bookstagram for a year. I actually started both accounts on April Fool's Day of last year, which in hindsight feels like a choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been plugging along for a year. Had no idea what I was really doing. When I joined Book Talk, I think I remember Googling how do you make a TikTok, because I was like, I know what TikToks look like. I've spent lots of time as a lurker, but I don't know how it goes from like concept to being on my For You page. So I had to do a lot of like really embarrassing Googling. Figured things out nice and slow. But like, you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like a steep learning curve, but once you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
I have been a romance reader since I was in college. I graduated in 2016, if that's any like time reference. I don't know how many years ago that was because I can't do math.
That was 6 years ago.
Thank you so much. 6 years ago.
Well, 5 in like a couple months, but yeah. Almost 6 years.
We'll just go with 6. And like romance was just like kind of an escape in college for me because the ebooks were always so cheap. I could just read it like on my laptop or my phone. And I would just like get lost in these stories, even like the really terrible ones. My taste has since evolved, but so I had no idea that there was even like a community of people my own age who like consumed romance at the same volume that I did. And so when I found Book Talk, even just Book Talk itself, not necessarily like the romance side, I was so excited because I was like, I had no idea people like talk about books on the internet. Like that's a thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe. And then I think back then there was like a very heavy fantasy influence still on Book Talk, and a lot of YA, a lot of fantasy. Some of it was fantasy romance, but a lot of it was just like YA fantasy.
You joined definitely in like the romance, like March, April, definitely when romance shot through the roof, I think, on Book Talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like it took me a while to even get through like the fantasy stuff for my For You page to start showing me like smutty romance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you. That's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And like I was seeing, you know, the books people were recommending, and then I was like, maybe I have some, you know, information or knowledge to fill some gaps that I think are present here. And so that's like all I've been trying to do for the last year. And it's been so much fun. I don't think I've ever lasted this long with a hobby. I have severe ADHD, and like I drop hobbies like flies. But this one has been like so gratifying to do. It's been so great to be able to connect with other people and meet people and like talk about something that I've really never been able to talk to anyone about ever. Because no one gives a shit about romance books who doesn't read them. So yeah, I think I'll stick with this one for quite some time, and I'm just having a blast over here.
That's awesome.
It
And
definitely
that's great
helps.
because a lot of us felt like that. Like we didn't have
Yeah.
anyone, and then we found it, and we're just like, this is it.
It's crazy how everyone has felt like the same way. Everyone who I've connected with has told me the same thing.
Yeah. Because I definitely feel like we've talked to like other people, and they've talked about how like, I mean, I'm still in college, but I literally didn't start reading until quarantine again. And even then I wasn't reading like romance. I was reading like YA and stuff, because I guess that's what like, but when I like got into romance, I think I saw like a Kennedy Fox like video on my For You page, and I was like, what? I was like, I need to be reading this. Read the whole series within like a day and a half. And like, it's great that you have like this background of like built up like, because now I feel like everybody, we're constantly having to catch up and stuff of like, what's the newest, what's the hottest kind of thing. And like the fact that you have like so much like built up backlog of like books and stuff, I'm so jealous, because like I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like,
I mean, I wish I could tell you I remember anything that I read before 2020, but I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hard. I think
the books last year, I don't remember.
One time I was like trying to like, this was like early quarantine, I was trying to figure out all the books that I originally read way back, and specifically in high school, because in high school I went through so many books, and I feel like that's when I first dipped into romance too. And I feel like that's when I read like my first like, that's when I first read 50 Shades of Grey in like high school. And
Damn, okay.
I read through all of them. And then shared them with my friends because like apparently like my whole grade ended up getting into reading a lot because our English teacher ended up making half of our like required reading dystopian novels and like YA books that were relevant and
Not
like new.
erotica.
Not erotica. I found that on my own. Um, and so like we would have these reading logs and we would have to like write down all the books that we read. Of course I didn't put those super spicy ones.
I probably
But
would have tried to.
I remember going through my storage for like these old English notebooks that I kept and looking for those reading logs. I'm like, I remember this book a long time ago and I can't remember what it was, but I remember this one scene has to be in here. And I went looking for these reading logs and I was able to find all these books. Of course, when you read them as an adult, they're not the same. Taste develop. We're new, we're different.
Yes,
We started at, I feel like a lot of people started with 50 Shades of Grey at a time, and then it kind of branched off into other things.
Yes.
And it's been a wild experience, you know? But
yeah.
It's a lot of catch up now.
I use GoodReads now, like pretty religiously, but like I never touched it really until like a year ago because I was still friends with all these people from high school and college, and like I wasn't really ever reading anything that was like appropriate for them to see. And so then I did a big old purge and I deleted all of those people from my GoodReads. And I was like, I don't need you here. And then I track my books now with Google Sheets. Like I just make a yearly template kind of thing where I can track like tropes and spice readings and like things like that.
Tanya was talking about it.
Mentioned that. And we were like blown away.
I just got her on it after a lot of convincing.
We need her to send it to us. We were like, Tanya, are you gonna send it to us?
You gotta send it to us.
Yeah, like, I will. It's also in my bio link. I have the template there.
For sure.
Let me just do it real
I got
quick.
you guys.
Yeah.
So
pull up my phone real quick, add everything in.
I started doing that in 2020, and then I started like this book stuff in 2021. Yes. Years are hard. And so since I had like all that backlog data in Google Sheets, I could like take it to GoodReads and just backfill it. And then now I keep it updated because there's literally nothing worse than doing bulk updates on GoodReads.
Oh yeah, it's hard.
The worst user experience I think I've ever had to deal with.
It's so much easier when you're just doing one at a time, but then having to do so many, that's when it starts going wrong. But one thing you mentioned about like removing all of your high school people, I have not done that. I
highly recommend.
Probably do that. I think I still have my high school English teacher on there.
Like one of my friends' moms was my friend, and I was like, no.
Should probably go remove him. I mean, he wouldn't care. He'd probably be like, yeah, go girl, you read what you want to read. But
go
still.
little rock star.
But I think I'm at like more of a point now where like I wouldn't really care if they saw it, but like a year ago I was like, we're starting fresh.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. When people ask like, oh, what do you do? And I'm just like, oh, I read what like nonfiction, like, what kind of books? And I'm just like, oh, just all kinds of fiction, all kinds, not
fiction, just keep it vague.
Not a specific genre, not, anything dangerous or dark or no, just big fiction, anything.
Yeah, I use GoodReads like another social media platform. Like I'll scroll through my feed now and I love updating like my current read, and like I love updating by like the page and stuff, because what I do is I'll see like a quote or something on a page I like, and I'll put it in GoodReads and I'll be like TikTok video, and then I'll save it. So then whenever I finish the book, I go back and I'm like, I need a scene from this book, and I'm like just scrolling through, and then all I just have is like TikTok video 1, TikTok video 2, TikTok video 3, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna go crazy. But everybody like hates on GoodReads because of like the review portion of the book. Like I never look at reviews. I don't know about y'all. Either. I never like some people.
I don't
love
have
reviews.
the attention span for it.
Thank you. I also can't have people like tell me what the book is about because I won't read it then.
I don't really care as much about spoilers. Like I love spoilers in general. Like when I used to watch The Bachelor, I would always like find the spoiler and like
Mhm.
I'd be like,
Yeah.
cool, now I know. Now I could enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And like I know like romance as a genre is a guaranteed happily ever after, but like I still like to know what's going to happen because I don't know, it's just soothing to me, I guess. So I'm not like worried about seeing spoilers. I just like I only care about a few people's opinion on a book, and like if they're not one of the people reviewing it, I'm not going to read it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the people who like put like the main tropes, because that's perfect for me.
I started
Because
doing
now,
that.
yeah, now that I'm becoming more of a mood reader, I
Mhm.
am looking for specific tropes to help fill in the gaps right now. Like
Yes.
today, my For You page was heavy on like the ex-fiance's dad, or like the
Oh, a
ex-boyfriend's
juicy
dad.
one.
And I was like, you know what?
Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas.
I
Like,
have
is my
it,
For You
and
page
then
trying to tell me something?
it's trying to tell me something. And it just like, it was almost like, what's the word? Like using hypnosis on me and kind of just
Mm.
like dropping hints.
It's
And
that like
just,
subliminal messaging.
thank you.
Yes,
That's what it
that's the
was.
one.
I know you,
And
Grace. I know what you're trying to say.
you know me, you're right here. You're right here. And so when I see the tropes, that's like perfect for me, because
Yes.
like, you know, sometimes you're like, you know what, I feel like I want some fluffy small town romance. That's what I want to look for. And then if
Mhm.
you find someone mentioning that or using that in like in the context in the video or whatever, it
Yeah.
helps so much.
Yes.
I just love that. But like
Yes.
whole big reviews, I'm okay with. But I know what you mean about like that. It's almost like an anxiety that you have, that you just need to know that it'll work out. And
Exactly.
it's always like at that 70%, 80% of the book that
Oh, the
everything's
third act
starting.
conflict,
I'm
always.
sweating. I'm trying to like, how are they gonna make it out? I mean, I know they're gonna be okay, but
Yeah.
who's
I mean,
gonna
I know most of the time, like when you get to that point, especially if it's more of like a contemporary kind of rom-com-y, it's always like right at that like 80-86%
Oh,
of the
yeah.
book, and it's always something very minor that gets
Yeah.
resolved very quickly, but it's still like, I can't believe this is happening.
This is like the worst moment ever. How will they ever
I'll
make
never
it out?
recover from this.
It's always that point. And then at the end, you're just like, I knew they could make it out. I knew that everything would be okay. Just like, no,
Exactly.
you didn't.
I need to be better about listing out tropes on GoodReads. Because like most of the time when I'm writing out a full GoodReads review, it's either for something that like I'm passionately love, or
Mhm.
it's like an arc review that I have to do,
Yeah.
or I'm just like getting it done
Oh,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
get it done.
Just put it in.
But on Instagram stories, I do. I have like a trope section that I do,
Mhm.
so like I always list that out, because for me,
I love your template and
thank you.
your like, I see them on like all of your whole like squad. Every time they see them, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I love them. And then I was just like, you know what, I want to try, but yours are like superior, and I just love them. I love how you
Thank
do
you.
your reviews on them, and like how you can have little sections. If Goodreads could take review format from anyone, it should be you.
I think we need that. Like I think we need like an age rating, because like I feel like when you
Yes,
look at Goodreads,
yes.
you don't know what a book's age rating is. And so when I do a review, I put age 18 plus. I
Yeah.
put stars, spice, and then I try to put tropes if I can remember them. And then I always put, and then I like go down, and then I put like a review, and then like trigger warnings I put at the end and talk about like triggering subjects and like how the author
Yep.
handled it and stuff, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the flow of information, like when you're looking at a
Mhm.
book, if I don't see a certain trope, I'm like,
Mm.
pass.
I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, not the
But
vibes.
on the subject of your bookstagram, I'm looking at it right now. That's why I'm like looking down and stuff. I have noticed this trend of like people posting like photos and then like quotes, and I started doing that
Mm.
because I love that, and I like
Mhm.
love putting like spicy quotes, and I love shocking people.
It's a
So like
thrill.
it's so fun because it's like I use like all the naughty words, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. My
And
twisted
then my
game.
mom follows me and she likes those, and I'm like, okay, we're not gonna talk about this.
My sister is almost 16 years old and she follows my Bookstagram and I forgot about that. And I posted like
Oop.
one of my for the ritual, I posted my like quote for that and she sent me like a screenshot and she was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "You're a high schooler."
Pretend you never saw this.
I was like, "Just
Yeah.
like it and keep scrolling." I was like, "Hit like and save and then keep scrolling. That's all you have
Yeah,
to do."
I told my mom early on, I was like, you can follow me if you want, but you are never allowed to bring up anything that I post to my face.
Oh,
My
yeah.
parents don't know at all. So, I thankfully blocked them on every single platform.
Smart.
Yeah. But when we're talking about like how do you like I'm looking at like your photos and stuff.
Mhm.
What is your process for taking these photos? Because I'm looking at them and I'm like,
Your
holy
flat
crap.
lays are like,
It's like I can see like the basic template for like the quotes, but
Mhm.
your flat lays, I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like how much money do you spend on like props and stuff? Like
Really not very
tell
much.
tell me your process
So,
with this.
okay, I will give you the deets.
Oh,
So basically when I
listen
started
in.
doing these, I was taking pictures of like my Kindle on my coffee table, and that was so boring. And
Mhm.
then I was like seeing all these like cute, cozy, like flat lays with like sweaters and like
mhm.
fairy lights and things. I'm like, I want to do that because it's so cute. And I realized I didn't have any like good background textures. And so I was like searching and searching on Etsy and Amazon and everywhere. And I finally found these like small, like chunky knit, like they're like mini blankets, like maybe for a baby or something. They're like this big, just a square. I got a white one and like a kind of like a beigey purpley one.
Yeah.
And
With a
that's like the
scarf?
background. And they're like $20 each, but like use them for every single photo.
Mhm.
And then for all like those like little fabrics that are in there, I went on Etsy and I found wedding table runner samples. There are also like napkin samples. And so each one is like maybe $2.
Let me pull up my Etsy right now.
I just ordered more actually the other day. Like
Wow.
I found a shop that had like a lot of really great colors, and then I just did a huge order. So I have this like bin full of like random fabrics, and I just pull out the ones that I think will complement the book, and then kind of drape them.
Wow. I mean, because like
Smart.
your photos are just so like I'm always wondering, I'm like, how much are you adding? Like how long does it take you to take one photo?
It depends on the book and like how complicated I want to make my life. I try to buy props that are like reusable, so like pretty evergreen. Like the chain that I always put in there is like a fake chain that was like Halloween decor on Amazon.
Yeah.
I have a candle that's like from Bath and Body Works unused. I just like put in some like rose stuff and lavender in there. So like that's like the candle that I use. We'll never
Yeah.
probably burn it, which is sad, but whatever.
The hand also, you have that.
Also got that on Amazon, like $5. Like I try to just keep my costs as low as possible so I can just keep churning out and like keep using them over and over, because then I will feel less guilty for buying so much shit.
It definitely gives me like the witchy vibe of like going into like a witch's cottage and this is what I would like this is how I would imagine like
I
she
love
would display
that.
her books. Like I don't know why, because I think it's the like flowers and stuff in the candle and I'm just like that's
I
witchy
love
vibe.
like the dark kind of cozy aesthetic.
Mhm.
And like I'm a type of person, like I like change. I have to have change.
Yes.
I need it often. So that's why my feed, like it's divided by seasons, because every season I need something different. I like color, and then during Halloween I want everything dark and gloomy.
Yeah.
And I feel like the dark and gloomy was like I had the most fun with that, because it's just like you can do so much with it, and it's just such a vibe.
Yes.
And then like using Lightroom and playing around with it, and like
Lightroom is clutch.
it comes in clutch. I be using that all the time.
Yep.
If I didn't have enough flowers on one side, I'll like mask it and then add it and make it, and it's really fun to like start playing with it. And yeah, Maggie, don't look at me like I'm lying. Like that's why people ask me like, oh, how does your Kindle get color? Because like I'll like
Oh
put
yeah.
cover on it and
yes.
things like that, or things, And
I do
it's
that
just
in
you playing
Procreate.
around with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
put the
advanced enough to do that, so I literally just put my Kindle out with the cover on it and
Oh,
then
yeah.
fix it in
Yeah.
Lightroom with the
Nope, I
colors.
just use an iPhone filter. You know the filter, like the preset filters?
Uh-huh.
I literally just use those and I just use the same lighting. Like I for
And
my
it looks
last
great.
for
It
my
looks
lashes,
great.
I
like
mean, literally whatever works,
I
honestly.
literally
Yeah.
have gone to a coffee shop and like that's like my new place now to take photos because it's like 1 p.m. in the coffee shop. I go to the corner and it's like I'm away from people so they don't see me taking pictures of my like food and my books. But
Yeah.
when I tell you having presets,
Game changer.
Game
because
changer.
I don't know, I can't focus enough. And like I'm not an editor. I'm not like artistic in that way. And
Same.
so I'm like, whenever Grace is like, let me do a preset for you in Lightroom, I'm like, what if like I have different lighting and stuff? And she's like, we're gonna have to change the light. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I have to be able for it to like me just snap a photo and it match.
It
Yeah,
took me a
for
long
sure.
time to find presets that I really, really liked. I think I just got like a bunch of them on Etsy because they're so cheap.
Yeah.
But now I use the same one for each photo, which you can probably tell. But then I still like tinker with like the lighting or the colors each time, just like to make it just like as vibrant as possible. Because sometimes it like dulls down certain colors that I don't want. So
Yeah. I noticed that like when I was doing like the dark aesthetics, like the reds and like the rubies would like pop nice, but not too well. And then like other colors would wash out because like it's, the contrast is there or whatever. And then like it's hard to kind of, because some covers you really want to capture the cover as best as possible. And
mhm.
then with your filter, it'll like change the cover to look like something else. And you want to keep it as original as possible. But then you also want it to match your
Yeah,
feed. And so
exactly.
you're kind of like in that toss up, like, let me just micro adjust it as well. But those Etsy filters and presets, they come in clutch because they'll have sales. Like these photographers will have sales and they'll
Mhm.
have bundles of like 30, 40
Yeah.
presets. And for like $5, $6, and you can
Yeah.
just buy them, and then you can pick whichever one you like, and then you can also like adjust it as well. Like that's what I did with my Halloween one. I did buy a whole Halloween
Why
dark
are you just telling me
aesthetic.
this now?
No. Don't try to twist that. Don't try to twist that because
No, you were just telling me this now.
I said, woman,
Truth
I
comes
have
out.
all of these Lightroom presets. I can literally send you the files. And you're just like, but the lighting is not always the same. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I didn't know that you could buy
Well, if
them
you
on
want
Etsy.
them, I have them.
I didn't
Why would
realize
you
that you
buy
could.
them if I have them for you though?
But like I had no idea that like I could buy them on Etsy. Like I just had no idea. I thought you were making all of these like
I feel like you can
presets.
buy
Well,
pretty much anything on Etsy.
Yeah, you can buy
That's true.
anything on Etsy.
It's true.
But like I bought like a pack of it, but then I liked one, but then I didn't like how I washed out certain colors. So then I
Mhm.
adjusted it. And so it's like another preset plus my own addition into a new preset that's mine. So
Love that.
that boom. But yeah. I did want to ask this. Setting up for flat lays, very time consuming, and you
Mhm.
have to kind of like cut out time for it and everything. And for someone who's just starting out with it,
Yes.
what are like your 5 tips that you
Ooh.
are like you stand on these 5 to start?
I think a big one is like figure out what kind of elements you want in like the photo, because like when I started, I was doing it on my coffee table with my Kindle like propped up. I had like a little marble like tray thing I would put a candle on or something. It would just be like 3 elements, like just like my Kindle, something, and then like something like
Still really
crystals or
cute.
something. Yeah,
Mm.
no,
My favorite
it was
series.
fine. It was fine. It wasn't very exciting though. And like I love crystals. I have crystals everywhere in my house. But like
I'm liking
I
your first photo. So if you get a notification, that's me liking going down your entire feed
Well,
and liking it.
um but like, you know, be true to your own tastes. Think about the things that you like to see in other people's photos and like just like start kind of collecting. And then experimenting. Like I've bought props before that I thought would be really great and they just didn't work at all. And so it's like it really depends on like, I don't know, your aesthetic, and you just sometimes you have to let that aesthetic develop over time because you're not going to figure it out right away. And that's also fine because it's a process and no one's going to judge you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you
think
might judge yourself for that. I know I do, but like that's just part of
yeah.
it's just part of it.
I think people often forget that like we start somewhere, and then like the more you do it, the more experience you kind of get with it, the more your taste kind of develop. You
Mhm.
start adding your own things, and that's why a lot of people used to ask me like how to start up, how to start these bookstagram, things like that. A lot of girls would come up to me in my DMs and ask me, and I'm just like, literally just start and just
go.
see other accounts that you like.
Mhm.
You might like the lighting from one, you might like this
Mhm.
prop from another, you might like the way that their book is set up in this one, or like the way their feed is, and take elements that you like from all of these different creators and make your own with it. Like you're figuring
Yes.
out your taste through seeing how somebody else's taste is developed and making it your own fusion of like what you want to create. Like it's very different, very subjective. Like some people are gonna like your feed, some people are just gonna be like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Like
You can't
and
ever
then
please everybody.
you
Yeah.
really can't. It's not. Yeah. And then sometimes you want to be relaxed and you just want to take a picture of the quote and that's it. And that's perfectly
That's
fine.
what I've been trying to do. I'm trying to do like the quote because I have so many quotes always saved. But I feel like I used to do like the flat lays and stuff, and I would always like feel so much pressure to do flat lays because like I'm not a very artsy person as it is. And so like flat lays, I'm like, I either love it and I give up and I'm like, great. Or then I see it and I'm like,
Half the time before I post, I'm like, this is so ugly.
yeah.
And then you post it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this woman is a goddess. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
I'm a perfectionist and I'm very critical of myself.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So there
the
The best
quote
people
posts I
always
do.
are of their own work.
that's true. That's true.
I almost use the quote post as like a reprieve because I'm not actually taking a photo. I'm like grabbing something from Pinterest that's like a sexy photo as the background and putting it into Canva.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Calling it
just
good.
super easy. I love when I get to post reels and I just have to like put like the text post on it and then just post it, because it's just like, okay, I don't have to pull out a book. I don't have to figure out like a whole lighting concept. I don't need to figure it out. I could just post it and that'll be it. And that's why I love like other accounts that like are all like text posts or all like, you know, all these pretty pictures or things like that they pull from like Pinterest or whatever.
Like all those edits, they're so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I'm just like, I wish that it was that easy and I could just like do that. And then they probably think the same, like, oh, I wish I could do flat lays. I wish I could do that. So it's always like the grass is greener on the other side kind of thing.
So true.
But you know,
Yeah.
somebody out there is loving what you do.
It's finding your niche. I felt like I found my niche of like the like, what is that called? It's like the casual bookstagram. That's what I'm trying to do, is like just me like sitting outside waiting for the bus. I'll just snap a picture kind of thing. But I did want to ask you, so you're the first guest that we've run across that I saw like avidly has this, not avidly, but like has this on their bookstagram. Omegaverse.
Here we go.
This is just
I'm waiting for this one.
I'm just diving in because I got sent books that were part of the Omegaverse, and I have no idea what is the Omegaverse. What?
I said, what books were you sent?
Oh, I was sent by Ann Denton. I was sent.
Okay, I feel like I have one of hers on my list.
They're like all the way over there.
That's okay.
But yeah, Ann Denton. It's like a girl on the cover and a wolf.
I think I had that downloaded at some point, or I have it downloaded. I just haven't read it. I remember the author's name.
Yeah, I think it's
Defiant.
Defiant.
I think that's the one. Yes. I didn't know that was Omegaverse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna bump that up.
That's how she was like, it's an Omegaverse romance, and I was like, okay. No, I was just like, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna read it.
I kind of want to get into it.
Okay.
So what is it?
I will talk about Omegaverse as long as you will let me.
Do it. I'm here to learn.
So,
I'll open doors.
Omegaverse, like, it's like another subgenre that's kind of between like paranormal and contemporary. So it's like it's not quite fully paranormal, but it's also not quite fully contemporary. So even when like the characters are basically human, they have these like animalistic traits, and society is basically organized in this hierarchical way where there are alphas, betas, and omegas, and every person has a designation. So like it's how you're born. Alphas are like at the top of the food chain. Their characteristics are like they're usually like bigger. They have this thing called a bark, which is basically like when they speak, but they put like dominance into their tone. I don't know why it's called a bark.
That sounds cute.
It makes it sound really cute, but it's not. And they bite. They can like usually like make claws appear or something. It really depends. Like there's a lot of variance like from book to book on like which parts of like the lore they want to include. But then like their main distinguishing feature as alphas is that they have knots.
I have heard a lot about this. I don't know what it means, but I've heard a lot about it.
So basically, when they're knocking boots with an omega, who's like the preferred partner of an alpha.
Okay.
Their
knocking boots
equipment. Their equipment has this little bit, like it's like a part of the base of it swells up while they're inside. And so it's like a bumper almost to like keep all the good stuff in. Because I'll explain this further.
So it's like it's like
a vacuum seal?
Like it plugs?
Yeah. Yes. And omegas are like their equipment is like made to accommodate that. So like they're fine. It doesn't hurt them or anything. Omegas,
they'll just
I think,
clamp around it and just like
yes, exactly.
extra secure it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. I think in most books, omegas are kind of like the designation that's meant for breeding. So they're always very like fertile. They go into these things called heats, much like dogs or cats.
Of course.
And when they go into heat, they like really need an alpha to like help them get through it because their body's just like in pain if they're not getting knotted 24/7. So a lot of the Omegaverse that I've read has just been like it's really hard to like explain like the right way, but like Lola and the Millionaires, for example.
I've seen that one.
By Catherine Moon. She has this series called the Sweet Verse. So it's like kind of like rom-com-y Omegaverse almost. She has 4 books in that series. The first book is Baby and the Late Night Howlers, and then Lola and the Millionaires Part 1 and 2, and then she has Bad Alpha, which is the most recent. They don't really need to be read in order.
Grace writing this down as she's speaking.
I started with Lola. I think that was one of the first Omegaverse books that I read, and I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm sold. This is so cute, but also very spicy. So it was just like this really nice blend. And like, I am also saying this as a paranormal romance lover, that like Omegaverse is kind of that perfect sweet spot between contemporary and paranormal, where it's just enough of an escape that you forget about reality, but it's not so overwhelming like some paranormal romances where you like have to learn all these like new rules and like new species and all this shit. So I find it very enjoyable to read. I think for the most part, all the Omegaverse that I've read has been really good. So
yeah, that's interesting. I like that. Because back when I first started my like original reading journey, I was a Twilight kid.
Me too.
That's what started that was the first book I ever read ever on my own. And then shortly after like the vampire phase, I went into the werewolf phase, and I really loved the dynamics of like, because this is like really out of myself, not really, I am a real big fan of like group settings. I haven't gotten into RH yet. I'm working my way there.
I
I'm working my
know.
way
I don't know
there.
how.
You like
Okay,
group settings, but you
I
haven't done
know,
RH?
I
she
know.
likes group
Because
settings of pairs, like people, like couples
pairs.
together
Interesting. Okay.
in a group setting.
Because I'm a one and done kind of person.
Sure.
So I like that you and me and that's it. But I'm working my way there. I want to get there because I feel like because I like groups and because I
Yes.
like
It's
so many
so
people,
good.
I feel like I will
I can't
like
get
it.
enough of RH. It's like one of my favorites.
You know,
Reverse
I
harem
can't
is
jump into the
so-
deep end without,
I jumped
testing
into
the
the deep end.
waters.
What did you
You know.
start with? I'm afraid. Was it Den of Vipers?
She did.
Yep.
She jumped right in and then she was like this. Oh my gosh. She scared me from it. And I
It
was just like, thank
traumatized me
goodness.
for a while. Like I didn't read read Reverse Harem till Madison Kate series. I didn't read any Reverse Harems until that. Or I did. I read the River Valley Rebel series by Gabrielle Sands. The first one in that series is a reverse harem, Rockstar reverse harem romance. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I will
Scared.
get there, but I just haven't yet. And
I
so
think reverse harem is a lot easier to get into when it's in like a fantasy or paranormal setting because a lot of the
probably.
time there are these rules in place that make it less weird. So like
Yeah.
it's like a woman is expected to have multiple mates, and so these are her fated mates, and so it's normal.
Yeah.
Like they have to be together, and she doesn't love any of them less. She loves them all the same. When you get into contemporary or like dark reverse harem, that's when it's like you're gonna have to get through some of the content where they're just explaining over and over why it's not weird that they're with like multiple people.
yeah. Or like the ending of it, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have a wedding," and I'm like,
who is going
"How
to
does
have a
that
wedding?
work?"
Which one? Yeah. So I feel like Omegaverse, that's why I've been curious about it because I've been wanting to get back to that phase. I'm a big werewolf person. I like the dynamics of the pack. I like the group setting. I like everybody protecting each other, everybody watching over. I like that thing. We had decided early last year, I think, that I was a big time werewolf girl. And I was just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna claim that because
own it.
It's it's part of me. I always wished I was like the vampire girl, but I couldn't be that because I like many people around me. I like, the familial type of setting.
I like
So
blood
then
play
when
too
I
much to
I
be a
keep
werewolf.
hearing I keep hearing about like Omegaverse and I'm just like, you know what?
Listen, once you read blood play in the right way, it's over.
We're quoting that for the podcast Instagram.
Everything once done in the right way, you'll be okay with it.
Yes.
You just have to find the right author to do it the right way.
Yes.
And once you do,
exactly.
That's your thing.
Like, cool. Maybe I am into this.
Yeah, it's always surprising too. Because you're just like, whoa, should I be okay with this? I mean, I feel okay with this.
It's like, it's too late. We are okay with this.
Yeah. We're rolling with it. That's what it is.
That's like me when I started reading bully romance. I was like, I should not be okay with this. But I am okay with it.
Zodiac Academy. That is like, yes. When I tell you, I read 187 books last year. Zodiac Academy was my top series I read.
Yep.
Same. I refuse to finish 6 and 7 until I get 8 so that I can just binge read it because
that's self-care.
Dude, I ended on 5. I ended on 5 when
5 was painful.
Yeah, I ended there because I was like, if I keep going, it was like August.
I look back in my tracker from 2020 when I 2020, yes, when I read the Zodiac Academy series. Nope, it was 2021. I lied. Thinking about this now, but it was, so that's what I started 2021 reading. I started with Zodiac Academy.
And you ended it?
And what?
Did you end it with Zodiac Academy?
No.
Oh.
That would have been very poetic, but no. Because I read book 7 in December but it wasn't like the last one I read.
Mhm.
So I remember getting to book 5, and I read book 5, and I was like, I was just full of emotion. I was like mad and upset and just annoyed with so many characters and angry, wanting to punch certain people in the face. And I wrote a note to myself in my tracker in the notes section. I said, I'm not reading book 6 until book 7 is out. Because at that time it was only going to be 7 books. And then I went and I was still thinking about it constantly. I could not get these characters in this book out of my head. It was consuming my life. And so I was like, well, I guess I could go read Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac, the other series that they have, which is Reverse Harem.
Yeah.
The same world set 5 years before Zodiac.
Mhm.
So I blew through that as well. And then I was like, that had one more book left to be out at that time.
Mhm.
I think I read these in like late January, February. And then I read the first 2 in Darkmoor Penitentiary, which is the one that's set after Zodiac. And I
Mhm.
was like, cool. So now I've read everything that there is to read in the Zodiac world. And I still have this one book that I haven't read yet in Zodiac. What to do? So then I read book 6. And I lied in the notes section because you can see it's like, I'm not reading this. And I was
Dude.
like, well, here we are.
Darius, when everything went down and like the things he had to go through, I was like, man, I feel you. I was like, I'm sorry, dude. And I was like, I understand the tension. I understand the tension it was creating. But I was like, bitch, if you don't claim him, I will. I will claim that man. I will fly down there and I'll just
Yeah.
snatch him up and then fly away and go into my own world because like
Yeah.
Darius,
I wanted to murder him in so many creative ways.
I
And then I would do anything for him.
I would do anything for him. Like
Same
he
with
wants me on
Seth,
my
though.
knees, all fours, whatever he
Oh, yeah.
wants.
Anyway,
I will do it to him.
any day.
Like
Same with Orion.
yes.
He's
Caleb
my favorite.
also. Caleb.
Love Caleb.
Also, I don't know what happens because I stopped at book 5.
Right.
I don't know, which is very hard because I definitely thought like Zodiac, 12 months. There's gonna be 12 books. When I found out there's only 8, I was like,
So there's 8 main books. They have 2 novellas.
yeah, that's true.
That are like super short, and they're doing, so that's 10. I think they're doing 2 more novellas, so there will be 12.
So there will
total.
be. I don't think I read the novellas.
I'm in their Facebook group, and I'm just like constantly lurking in there. I'm like, what's new? What's new? What's new?
Yeah. I love. Did you get the Bookish Box edition?
I did. I bought it yesterday.
I don't know because I want to pull the trigger because like the spines.
And like
It looks so
the
pretty.
spray on the pages, how they line up like that. Oh,
I want to pull the trigger. Like I want to pull the trigger so bad.
I
I
feel
haven't
like
even read
it was necessary
much
because
of
like
one.
I feel like Zodiac Academy readers don't get anything. Like we don't get
Yeah.
anything. We get the books and we talk about the books and that's it. There's
Maybe
never
we'll do
any like
merch.
good merch. It's so hard to find good merch.
You know what?
You
Let
should
me
do
read
merch.
Let me
will-
read it and I'll get on that.
Grace, I will give you everything you need to know about making merch, and I will. We can talk with
But
Maya
that's
about
not
it.
the same. That's not
Anytime.
the same. When I read, I have to like in order for me
Yeah.
to make merch about something, because I'm very particular. I don't like when somebody like makes merch, but it's very general.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it could
And you're
just
like,
fit
it's clear you
anything.
haven't
I'm
read
like,
this.
yeah, I wanted to have those like little Easter eggs moments in there. Like for example, like our Ada thing with the strawberry.
Mhm.
You would only know if you knew,
Yeah, that's authentic.
So
Yeah.
if I'm gonna make merch about it, I have to read
The
it.
books
And
are lit.
because you've been so like emotional about this, and you of me and you both, I'm usually the emotional one.
Mm.
So in order for her to be this emotional, I know that it's serious. I know that it's
Like,
really good. So I have to tread carefully because I'm not the type.
and they're long books, but like
they're so.
these authors have this way, and I don't know how they do it,
They
of
put
writing these
crack.
very long
Like-
books, and they infuse them with something.
Straight
you
crack.
You just blow through it. Like I read some of their books in like a day, and they're like 600 pages. I'm like,
In a day?
what?
No, I was reading Zodiac Academy, the first book. I was reading it when I went to go see Eamon in Chicago. And so it kind of took me a while to get through him. And then I finished it and I was like, I looked at Eamon because we were laying on her bed and I was like, she was reading some book. And I was like, I just read my new favorite series. And she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, I need to read the next book. And I like immediately
Yeah.
Kindle Unlimited next book.
Yep. The first one I think is the hardest one to like get through
Yeah.
quickly because
There's a lot
that's
of
the
world
one that
building.
has
Said that.
bullying.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
like once you hit the end of that one, you're like, well, there goes the next week and a half of my life.
You're in it now.
I think I might pull the trigger on, if anything, I'll just get the first 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because like
easy.
I mean I have the room.
You do.
I have
And
the
if
space.
you don't, you'll make the room.
I mean, I'll
Yeah.
make another shelf. Like I have like this whole space that I can just put like a Zodiac Academy shelf.
Yeah.
But like I don't know.
I was
love
mad
that.
because they did the new covers. They like look a lot nicer now and they like reformatted all the paperbacks.
Mhm.
And so, but I had bought them before that.
Oh, really?
And then, and like I want the new ones so bad, but then I just bought these and I'm like, how many versions of this series do I need to have?
Yeah, no.
3?
Like I have the paperback of like the brick wall background, so like the like basic one. I think that's the that's the like I never saw like the original covers. That's what I've known them as.
Yeah, the original ones were like all matte black. They had similar designs on the cover,
Mhm.
but like the inside was not formatted very well.
Okay.
There were like a lot of like formatting mistakes
'Cause
and things like
I
that.
read them on Kindle because I loved
Me
that they
too.
were on Kindle Unlimited. And
Yes.
somebody else bought me that copy. So I never bought them. And I'm like, I saved money, so I can put it towards those. And it's a
Did you
birthday
read
gift.
did you read book 1 as told by the boys?
No, I have not.
Oh my god, you have
Is
to
it
read
good?
it. Yes.
Dude, I'm in college right now. I start grad school in the fall.
It's
So
on
like
KU.
I'm like
That's a selling point right there.
ugh. Dude, I've read
But it's
5
only
books
from
this
the
year.
guy's perspective. You don't get any Tori or Darcy in that one. And Orion.
Who would you prefer, Tori or Darcy?
Oh god, that's such a hard question.
Because I know exactly who I would choose.
Like who would I want to be or who do I prefer?
Who do you prefer? Like, whose POV do you like the most?
I like Tori's more, I think, because it's more like
She's that
energetic and
bad bitch
captivating,
energy.
and she's a bad bitch.
Yeah.
But I do also really like Darcy's energy, and Tori has pissed me off a lot more than Darcy has,
That's true. I don't know. I vibe well
especially in
with.
book 4.
Yeah.
That's all I can say on the matter.
See? And you expect
I'm literally like tearing up because those books. I never talk about a series like this.
If you're tearing up now, you should definitely not read book 7 until book 8 is out.
oh.
Because I was sobbing.
Because
And I
When
like
does
don't cry
book
ever.
8 come out?
It'll probably be out next December.
they're thick books.
Next?
The reason that it's going to take so long is because like if you read them you'll see, but like the level of detail that they weave in to these stories, they've created this whole like universe, and
It's
all the details are consistent. Like there are no plot holes. They don't like lose anything or like forget anything or like refer back wrong. Like it's amazing the way that they do this, and the amount of plotting that they have to do for each book is why it takes so long.
and they're thick books too.
And they're
So much
thick,
happens in one book.
but like all of their books are thick also.
That's true. But
Because okay, I have like tried to block out as much as I can from this book. Besides the fact that the first book is bully and that it's a little hard to get through.
it's a
Other than that, I block out everything because I want to capture all of the emotion that Maggie has when she's reading it. So I'm like, I need to not know so I can be like her when she reads it. And so I don't even know what genre this book is. I
Oh,
don't even
It's
know
fantasy.
fantasy.
it is.
It's
Yeah.
a fantasy romance book. It's a
Mhm.
fantasy dark bully romance is what I would say. Because I would even
And
say
it
there's
has like a
still
lot of paranormal elements as well.
yeah, because it's set in like an other world. But I would say
Yeah.
that it still like keeps the bullying throughout.
It just
Like
takes different forms.
yeah, it just takes a lot different forms.
Okay. And
But
so
like they're
like,
fae.
Yeah.
they're okay.
That's
Tap her
not a
back
spoiler.
into the roots.
Yeah. And that's it's funny that like I mean it's in the first book, but like
Yeah.
it's like the first few chapters. So
Mhm.
yeah, but it's weird that like that's my like favorite series out of the whole
Uh-huh.
year. And like I'm heavy romance reader, but like those series, it mixes my love of fantasy and my love of romance and my love of like dark romance. And I'm just like,
Yes.
I want to be really plays into my kinks. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and like as far as spice goes, it is a bit more on the slow burn side. Like it
I
doesn't
feel like I've been
necessarily
wanting that though.
yeah.
So that'll be good.
And but like there are so many other things in the series that like really grab you and pull you in, and there's so much going on, and there's a lot of like comedy. Like there's
Yeah.
really funny stuff going on that like you don't even really notice that the spice hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually one of the
I
series
like
that
that.
I read, not for the spice. Like I was reading
Yes.
for like the plot, and I like when I did my review about it, I was like, I didn't read this for the spice. Like, yeah, there's spice in it, and there's a lot of tension. Like, if you don't
Mhm.
like slow burn,
Oh, I love tension.
There's
get
so much
prepared.
tension.
The tension is like S tier like tension because it goes throughout so many books.
Yeah.
Look,
And there's
if
fated
a book
mates.
doesn't have too much spice, I'm totally fine with it. But if there's tension building me up there, I am the happiest girl in the world. Because like it's something like I've said this before, but like if it's like pure spice and like that's what it is, then that's what it is. You're reading it
Yeah.
for that. But if there's another book that it's just that and trying to be like build this like really depth and this dynamic relationship, but it doesn't have any build up, I'm kind of like, oh well, like the scenes were great, but they've kind of fell flat in like the meaning.
Yeah, because you're
That
not emotionally
tension,
invested.
yeah, that tension is what carries me there. I haven't read a book where like the tension surpasses onto the next book, so
Mhm.
that'll be interesting.
It's on
That'll be
Audible.
interesting.
Oh yeah, they're releasing them.
Wow, really?
I think they're on like book 5 or 6.
Oh my
that they're releasing.
gosh.
I'm a big audiobook whore.
I only
The
listen
first
when
5.
it's Jacob Morgan on narrating.
I love Jacob
Otherwise-
Morgan and CJ Bloom.
Ooh, I don't know him. I'm gonna write his name
I
down.
like them both.
The first
They
5.
are very much my favorite. I'm a big audiobook person, especially if it's like multiple narrators.
I
and
love multiple
there
narrators.
are like some books that have like full casts.
Like, doesn't Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo have full cast?
I haven't heard that one yet.
I haven't either,
touchy.
but that's all I hear.
I'm touchy with like certain books that were like really huge and that my friends love.
Same.
Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna love it, and I don't want to not love it.
Me with it it ends with us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't read any Colleen Hoover.
Yeah, me neither.
It ends
But
with
like
us.
with Maggie,
That's
like
fine.
if Maggie loves a book, I'm for sure gonna really like it.
Yeah.
So I'll trust her. But like everybody else, I'm kind of like, if you
Yep.
really loved it, I'm like,
I'm like, whoa
not
there.
gonna tread there. Yeah, I'm not gonna dip. I'm not gonna jump into that pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people tell me
Um,
to read something over and over again, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna not read it even harder.
Yeah, for sure. That's basically it. But with audiobooks, I'm like really into it. There's like I just got into like Amy Dawes with like her
Oh
like,
yeah.
the
She's
Harrison
a sports
brothers.
one, right?
Yeah, and I got it because I saw that it was dual narration, which means
Mhm.
like it's dual POV, which means he reads all the narration for his point of view and she reads for all of her point of view. But when it's a male speaking, he pops in and speaks.
Oh, love
I
that. So
love
she's not
that.
doing like the weird deep voice.
Yeah, she's not. And he's not doing the high, squeaky feminine voice because she speaks on all the female parts. And so all the females and all the males have the same voices because it's like them. And
Mhm.
then one of her books, or I think like a couple of her books, have full cast. So it has the narrators from the other book in another couple's book. So they're reading their own parts. So it's
You
like
get
4 narrators in
continuity.
one. Yeah, I love that, it is more expensive to do it that way,
Mhm.
but it's so worth it to do it. It's like you're watching like a movie
It's an
play out of your
experience.
head. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
That's a pet
since it's
peeve
on
of mine.
audiobook, I'm for sure gonna read it now.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve of it's a pet peeve of mine when like the like guy narrators just make like a high voice and I'm just like,
It's always so cringy.
Yeah, and I'm like, is
Like,
this
is this what you think women sound like?
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's not. That's not it.
yeah.
Jacob Morgan does a pretty decent like woman impression, but like he's the only one I've ever heard who
yeah.
can do it and not make me want to die.
There's some that like do it like the only way that I can explain it is like a Valley, California girl,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, we don't talk like that.
Like, sorry, you're making her sound dumb as rocks.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's not it.
And maybe she is, and that's okay, but she shouldn't sound like she is.
Oh gosh. And then it's hard when like during like spicy scenes, and then like he says like it's in her point of view, and then she has to do like the deep voices of what he's saying. Like, that's not great. Took me completely out of the moment. But
Breaks the fantasy a little.
some have done it great, but some don't.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna listen to it.
If you get it on Audible,
you'll listen to it.
We'll do
again?
a tandem read.
Okay.
You have a lot.
Like, let me just siphon that right off of you.
Yeah. Oh, literally. I am the Audible like person, and like I'm like, oh, it's on Audible, and then I'll get it because I have like all these credits. And then like she's like, oh, you have it on Audible? Great. Let me go ahead and listen. And I'm just like, okay, fine.
Love that.
Because like that's what happened with the Brutal Birthright series, is that like I listened to like all of it in like a week. I sped through that so fast. And it was the first time I'd ever done something like that, because I was so hooked with like Sophie Lark's writing, the world building, everything. Yes. I loved it all. And I was so obsessed with it. And the audiobooks were amazing. And so then when I was getting Maggie to read it, I'm just like, you have to read it because we're going to have her on as a guest. And you need to have some of her repertoire in your system. And she's like, oh, it's on Audible. And I'm like, yeah, I have them all. Don't worry. Here's my login. Never look back.
Let me just slide right in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the notifications and it's like, you have 5 credits. And I'm like, great, so you still have 5 credits.
I finesse the system because if I don't like a certain audiobook, I'll listen to the whole thing anyways. But like the last 2 minutes, I'm like, I don't need it anymore. I didn't like it. Return. Give me back my credit. And just save them up. That's what I'll do.
That's smart.
So I have a question. I whenever I'm looking down, I'm always like sneaking on people's like page, and I'm like, what have they posted recently? What can I talk about the podcast? Vipers and Virtuosos. How do you even say that title? I can't say that title.
Vipers and Virtuosos.
Virtuosos. Okay, I have them up here. Savar Miller. Thoughts, opinions. Tell me what you think of the series.
Ooh. So my first ever Sav book was Promises and Pomegranates, which I read while I was on like a family vacation. And if you
it's
read
a discreet
it,
cover.
Yeah, the cover. I was reading on my Kindle, so like the cover wasn't an issue. It was the content. I was like,
it was like
the theater scene. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
That was one of the instances where I was like, cool, so maybe I am into blood play. But I loved it. I always love like any kind of Hades and Persephone vibe, like if it's like a very, very strict retelling or just like a little bit loose like this one. I really liked their character vibes with each other and separately. I thought the plot was really well done, and like there were some really crazy elements thrown in there towards the end. So I loved book 1, and then book 2 was what is it? What's the myth?
It's like Eurydice. Yeah, Eurydice and
Orpheus and Eurydice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't tell. I was so confused for like a while, and then I had to look it up, and I was like, still can't tell, but
yeah,
I don't care.
It's like the music and the
something.
I forget all the Greek myths.
Stalking.
Yes, the stalking. Isn't that the one where like she turns back and like turns into stone?
I think so.
I think. like in the underworld, she's supposed to like leave, or he's
Yeah.
supposed to leave and not look back, and he does because he's dumb, and then she turns into stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Something
think
like
so.
that. I have learned about myself that I do love stalker romance.
Yes. Yes.
And this one, boy, did it deliver. It was excellent stalker romance content.
Because it like wasn't like you know, like stalkers where it's like they don't know that the person is stalking them, but like when they do know, and she kind of accepts the stalking, and you're like, me too, girl. I would
and
too.
he like gets up in there. He's like in her room. He's like
He steals her
tinkering
underwear.
with her things, with her lotion.
Oh, dude, I messaged her at that scene, at the lotion scene. I messaged her, and I was like, Sav, you did
Ma'am?
not. And she was like, I did. And I was like, you did not. And she was like, I know it wasn't my best moment, but I did it. And I was like, I love you, queen. I love you.
She sent me a sticker that was like the lotion bottle. And I might turn it into a magnet because it's just too funny.
That's honestly, the book 2 was a lot more cut down and not as dark as book 1.
Yes.
But it still had that dark element where it was
like both characters had trauma and like different kinds of PTSD, but like that wasn't really the main focus. I don't know. I liked book 2 more than book 1 just because I felt like more immersed. Like I felt like more fully immersed in the story.
I felt that too. I think I liked book 1 for like how bold and out there it was, and like it was a dark like romance and stuff, but then like book 2 really hit it because it was like, I don't know, it just hit good. It was just like,
yeah, I feel like book 2 just really understood its assignment.
Yeah.
Like it hit all the things that it said it was going to hit.
Yeah.
And it just delivered.
Are you on her arc team?
Yes.
I know. I got on the team too, and I'm so excited for the next one because the cover.
The cover's so pretty.
Yes. Yeah.
I wish she would continue.
Her cover game is so strong.
Like,
dude, I actually came across the cover designer on my For You page, and I was just like, because she was like, oh, you know, like I got to design the cover for Promises and Pomegranates and Vibers and Virtuosos, and it was just before the reveal. So it was like the pre-reveal media post, and I was just like, wait a minute, you're the one that designs it? Because like I'm a graphic designer and I want to start getting into cover design. And so now I've been seeing a lot of like cover designers on my, so when I saw hers and then her next post, I saw it and it was the cover, I was like blown away because they look similar elements, but they are all like very different.
Yeah, they're all unique.
And they like, but they all go together so nicely.
Yeah. No, when I got the email the night before and I like posted on my Instagram story, I was like, I saw the reveal, and I'm like, I got it that night before and I looked at it and I was like, oh, fuck me. Like, fuck my credit card debt. Like, she just, even her discrete covers for her other series, I don't remember what it's called, but also the key one where it has like the keys on the cover, that one is also really pretty. Like the floral elements with like the objects, she does really well with.
I feel like discrete covers are having a big moment right now.
They really are. Sophie Lark is doing discrete covers for her entire series. Willow Winter.
Buy all of them.
Oh yeah.
I only have Brutal Prince.
Good.
I think my next flat lay is going to be the Sinners Duet alt covers because I have them and I've been wanting to take a picture, but I keep procrastinating it.
How do you feel about those covers?
I have them on the floor ready to go.
Yeah. How do you feel about them?
The discrete ones?
Yeah.
I love them. I really like the snake imagery, and I like how they're like, one is like a negative of the other. I feel like that symmetry is really nice when it's just a duet.
Yeah.
And they're really simple but bold. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like them a lot. I also love the original covers though.
Yeah.
So.
I love, I don't know about y'all, but I love the raunchy covers. Like the Twisted series, I got all those in the raunchy covers because I'm like,
me too.
Y'all really gonna do the men like that? Like, have you seen Josh Chen? Like, I want
They
to look
all
at
look
that.
like so good. But then the
Mhm.
discreet covers are really pretty too. So
Yeah.
it depends on
Yeah.
your vibe, because there's some
True.
girls who are like more dainty and more like,
Yeah, that ain't
with
me.
Pauline
No.
is definitely that type. She likes the discreet covers. She likes
Yeah.
the illustrated covers. That's her vibe. It fits her better. Me, I loved the way that they looked
Yes.
with the guys on the cover. It just looks so much better in my taste. So it's different. The Sinner's Duet, I did like it because of like the little Easter of the tattoos and
Mhm.
going into that imagery. So again, I love it when like the covers mirror what's going on inside. Very small details, but it's there. So I really liked it. I thought it makes sense for the cover,
Yes.
but then at
Yeah.
the same time, I do like seeing Cole and Mara on the cover. So
Yeah, of course.
I haven't even finished the last book. The second
What?
book. Because I got the arc for the first book, and then I didn't get
Mhm.
the arc for the second book because I didn't sign up for it.
Mhm.
And I was busy during that time because I was finals and everything when it came out. And I just forgot about it.
terrible. It's one of those that you gotta just sit down and
Yeah.
read it,
Yeah.
and then once you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I read the second one on a plane. I was just like, don't
Yeah.
talk to me. I'm reading this. It's important.
Yeah.
Oh, I have such a short attention span. Like, if
Same.
I'm just sitting down and I'm just starting, like those like first 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
like dang,
It's so hard.
immediately put it down, immediately scrolling on my phone. But then once those 15 minutes pass, I'm in it. I'm in the deep end.
Yeah.
You can't talk to me. I won't even hear you. But
Yeah.
it's getting past like those first like few pages to get into it, and then you're gone. You're gone. You're dead to the
Yeah,
world.
that actually
essentially.
happened to me with one of the last books I read. I like started it and I was like, like I don't know, I'm not really getting into it. And I was texting a friend of mine. I was like, yeah, I think I might just like put this one on pause and then come back to it next week or something. And then like an hour later, I was like, well, now I'm like 30% in. I think I'm good now.
Yeah, definitely. And like for me, I usually take about like 2 to 3 days to finish a book,
Mhm.
mostly because like I like taking my time. I like digesting what's actually
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Um, Oftentimes, if there's like something big that happens in the book, I'll like read it and then stop. And I'm just like, I need to feel this. I need to feel the anger that they felt. I need to feel like, all of that, to get the emotion into it. And then I'll finish it. And I
Mhm.
know that I will love a book if I go to bed one night and then like I dream
Oh
about
yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening next. And I wake up and that's all I'm thinking about. I'm like, I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm in with this book. Like that happened when I was reading the Brutal Birthright series, when I
Yeah.
was reading Kingmakers, when I was reading like
Mm.
the Sinner's Duet,
Mhm.
essentially everything
Yep.
Sophie like wrote. But like the Twisted series, the same thing. Like if I dream about what the characters are doing, I'm obsessed with the book.
Yep.
It's it.
Yeah,
It's
I
in
feel
my
that.
top. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I just like
Um,
just
yeah,
sniffed something and it like went up my nose. I was like, oh no. But okay,
totally
question.
fine.
So we were talking about like, so when you read, do you read like, and you're just reading it and you're like, this is just words on paper, or do you have like a full-on movie, TV show
Oh
going on
yeah.
in your head?
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. I am a movie reader. I'm like a visual reader.
Yeah.
So and it's not always like every part of every book. It's not always every book even. Like sometimes I just like it's like meh. Like it's not jumping out at me, so I'm not gonna like
Mhm.
waste energy trying to imagine it. But
Yeah.
like the best books I think are the ones that like I don't even have to try. I just like see them in my head and I'm like, cool. I'm
Have you
watching
ever
this
like
play out.
forgot that you're reading because it's like playing out, you're reading it, but like it's playing out in your mind and you're like, oh wait,
Yeah.
I have, and like you like will read a sentence and your like brain short circuits, you're like, wait, go back. Kind
Yes.
of rewind.
Yeah, that's
It
happened to
happens
me
so
before.
often.
It doesn't happen like that often for me, but I do remember like specific times where it's happened. And I like thought when I was like not reading, I was like, what was that show I was watching? And I was like, oh no, I was not watching a show.
That was a show.
I'm dumb. I was reading a book.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're because we're movie readers too.
Mhm.
Um, when you're reading the book and you're like viewing everything that's going on, do you see the characters like fully?
Yeah, sometimes.
You can?
It's not like consistent because
Mhm.
I'm like also a huge pop culture person. So like I have a good long backlog of like celebrities and like famous people I could use in my head for
Mhm,
like
mhm.
characters if they fit. Um for the most part though, it's usually like I can see like their body and their head, and sometimes their face is just like a little bit fuzzy. It's just like blurry. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's I will always get like their presence, their vibe. I will
Yeah.
feel it when I look at them. Like I may see what they're wearing, maybe a little bit of like skin tone, and
Mhm.
usually they are a little bit brown, but it's just my head just puts it in there. It's always what it is. And like they have like a little bit of a tan in there. Essentially become my type of person.
Yeah.
um Nice
Yeah.
shoulders, all of these things. But then right when it gets to like the jawline up, it's like one of those things of like, how do I explain it? It's like it's that moment between sleeping and awake
Yeah.
where like you're trying to hold on, but the more you try to hold on, the farther it gets. And so
Yeah.
that's what happens if I try to focus too much on the details as I'm like playing this
Yeah.
game in my head.
It can also be hard to remember like what
Mhm.
color their eyes are supposed to be, or like do they have any like scruff on their face, like what color's their hair, what's their hair texture,
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
sometimes those things are mentioned in great detail and sometimes they're not, or like
Mhm.
loosely alluded to, and so it's like I'm not
Yeah.
going to do this all
Yeah.
this work.
Or they do it like already when I have already decided how they look. They're
Yeah.
just like,
Uh-huh.
they say like, oh yeah,
Like,
his like
well, too late.
shoulder length hair, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, first of all, that's not how his hair looks. You didn't get
Message
the
to the
memo that I
author. This is a
clearly
mistake.
assigned.
I think you meant
Yeah,
short hair, 5 o'clock shadow.
exactly. That's exactly what you meant. I don't know. This is a typo here.
Mhm.
Your editing team needs to fix this. But yeah, that's definitely it. But I am a big focus on hands when I'm picturing it
Mm.
in my head. The hands I can always see so clearly. And the guys always have amazing hands. Amazing hands. Because
Yeah.
it's always that. But the
Love
girls, I
amazing
never
hands.
see them either. Or the girls are me.
Girls are a lot harder for me.
Yeah,
I always
they're
picture myself
hard.
as the girl. I've always put
Yeah,
myself in
half
her
the time I
place.
do that, and half the time I have like a vaguely clear idea of like what it should be. But like when they're blonde or something, I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah,
So I
that's
can't really do that.
it's
Whenever they say
really.
blonde, I switch it out. I'm like, no, they're just me. It's just me.
That's just me blonde.
I
Sorry.
just
I,
self-insert.
I
Full
mean, I
self-insert.
have been blonde at a certain point, and I have had red hair, and
Mm.
I am a brunette. So like, if it's any of those three, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me in like 2016. That's me in like 2019. So I can just like picture it. But like, I think I mentioned this to Tanya once, of like we were trying to recall like a female character of how she looks,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I really don't remember what she looks like. And then I said something like, um after a certain point in the book, like after like the first few chapters, I don't care about them. I'm focusing on like the main love
Yeah.
interest. The rest is self-insert. So, and it's like, it sucks, but then it's also like, yeah.
Yeah, the hardest part for that, because I do the same thing, is like when there's a spicy scene and like they're doing something together and you're trying to imagine it or like what position they're in, and it's like, cool, so I can see him very clearly, but she's just like this weird specter that's like kind of there. I'm like, it's
It's
just it doesn't really make sense in my mind.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's always like the funny part too, is like I've never had this happen to me yet, because most of the spicy scenes that I've read have been very clear and like,
Yeah.
enough description, and then enough space for you to fill in where you want.
Yeah.
Um, but I always find it funny when people say like they're trying to like figure out how like they're kissing, but then the back is to the chest,
Uh-huh.
but then like the leg is this way, and then like trying to figure out like all of these scenes. And thankfully I haven't had that happen yet. But I always find that so funny because like you forget that you're reading.
Yeah.
Someone else wrote this story and they wanted it to happen a certain way. And then sometimes the reader kind of just takes over and just like, no, this is not what's happening. We're going this way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely read many scenes like that where I have to do a little bit of mental gymnastics to figure out the exact placement, or like how they get from point A to point B, or like how they went from like kissing to like her being up against a wall to like something else. Where's her leg going? And I always appreciate it the most when authors are just very clear and direct about what's happening when, which body parts are going where. Because like the less I have to think during a spicy scene, the better.
Yeah. This is not a time for me to be like,
we're not trying to mentally engage here.
Yeah, this is what I came here for, you know? Yeah, definitely. And then those scenes that like, for me, like the scene has to have like these certain like points in order for it to hit very well. And once it has all of that in it, I'm committed.
What are those points?
So I like to say communication.
Yes.
Which I do like some very specific talk during it. I like to know what you're doing and what you want me to do.
Yes.
Again, remember this is self-insert.
And how it makes them feel.
Yeah. How it makes them feel. I would like, if there is tools being used, I like that. I like that very much. I also like there to be a little bit of passion and heated, a little bit of jealousy,
fiery,
anger, aggression. So Twisted Hate hit that spot big time, you know. I love there to be giving and receiving both ends.
Yes.
I have to have that. I love that.
Yeah.
And everything else is kind of interchangeable. But if it has like those 5 things building up into it, and then the tension throughout it, I really like.
Yes.
That's like my basic recipe. Everything else is like bonus. But yeah.
That's a good recipe.
Yeah, I think so. It does the work. It's spicy enough for me.
She's kind of perfected it over like
a little bit.
She's been like
a little bit, you know.
I feel like the only thing I would add is like when there are certain descriptive words that are used.
Oh, yeah.
There are some words that do give me an ick. Where I'm just like, every time I see it, I'm like,
what are yours?
What are yours, Maggie?
What do they rhyme with?
You could say it.
I'll say it because this is
you want me to say
podcast. Grace already knows exactly which word. 2 words. It's 2 words. One like pussy lips.
Okay. Yeah.
I read that and I'm just
I'll do it.
I'm like every time I read that, I'm just like
honestly, I would rather have folds.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't great.
Yeah.
But it's
what are
better
yours?
than that.
What are yours?
Mine, the one that like will always make me cringe is tummy. And you would be surprised at how often I've encountered it.
Really? I haven't encountered tummy.
No.
Well, it's like, so I read a lot of Jessica Kane, and like her novellas always have tummy. It's like it's on the bingo card. Like it's on there. They always have it.
I've been seeing that one on everyone's stories lately, and I'm just like,
it's like it's time. They all have the same things. But like there have been a few contemporary or dark or whatever non-Jessica Kanes that I've been reading, and then that word pops up, and I'm like,
oh,
what are we doing here? I don't think I like that. There was one that I read where it wasn't ever like verbalized, but the main character was thinking it. Like she was thinking the word tummy, like when she was referencing her stomach area or her gut or whatever. And I was like, why
Yeah.
are we doing this? Any other word is better, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's some words that are just like so like childish, if you know what I mean, where it's like they say it and I'm like, why don't you just say like pussy then?
Yeah.
Like why don't you just say it?
I think we're
Or, like-
all yeah, I think at that point it's like we're grown-ups here. Come on, we could say it. You
Like,
know?
We're
writing a-
grown-ups, just say the C word.
Yeah,
Mm,
that too.
yeah.
Honestly, I
It's
prefer that.
easy.
I prefer that
Yeah.
one the most, if I'm gonna
I
be
think-
honest.
Yeah, I've come
For
around on
me-
that one. I
For
enjoy
me,
it a lot
might
now.
be
Sorry.
for me it might be seed.
Oh no.
That
Nope.
that one I
I
just
didn't
like,
think I had one, but then looking back at it, I think it might be that one.
it just is
Because I
weird.
just rather hear it, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'd just rather hear it.
I don't
and
like
then
seed.
like but then okay. Now since we're on the thing of like names and words and things like that, what would you rather his
His
thing be
penis?
called?
Oh.
What would you rather his package be called?
Hmm.
I like how we were all like we're all adults here.
Yeah.
We're all thinking right now.
because it's usually it depends on like the book if it's like rather ready to use the words or not.
Mhm.
There's member, there's yeah, I don't like that one. There's like straight up cock, there's dick, there's
Honestly,
What, shaft?
ugh.
shaft. Depends. If it's being used to describe the actual
Mhm.
shaft while
Yeah, that's
he's
the
giving,
exception. Otherwise,
perfect.
no.
But if you're just using it just to say it, no, that's not it. But if you're using it because it's
Describing.
going specifically to that part of it,
Mhm,
perfect.
mhm.
Because you need to be specific about where
Yeah.
things are going. But I don't like it to be described as the whole thing.
Mhm. I
Honestly,
think length is okay.
Yeah.
Like that one's harmless.
Yeah.
It's not hurting anybody.
And it's just
yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
like a good filler word.
If you're gonna like
Yeah.
say like, oh, his dick was out, just say dick or cock. Like just
Yeah, agreed.
I'm just like, go. Like that's all I want to hear, ma'am. Keep
Like
writing.
you don't need to pull out
Josh-
the thesaurus.
Josh Chen definitely got me loving them calling it their cog all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's
Josh?
perfect.
The mouth on that man.
When he would just say it, I was just like,
Ugh.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, you say it. You say it
There,
again.
you say it. Say it louder.
I have the quote that I'm gonna post for my Instagram for like my quote from Twisted Hate. And sneak peek, y'all are getting a sneak peek of this because I did this and I was like, oh, this is a good quote. I was like, you know when you like get a quote and you're like, oh,
He had a lot of good ones.
He did.
he like Anna did really well with this book and this whole series where I was just like,
Mm-hmm. Each
Surprised.
one gets better and better.
yes.
Each one
So
does.
I'm about to fuck that smart mouth of yours until the only sound you'll be able to make is the one
I know
of
where
you
this is
choking
going.
on my cock.
I know
Like
that
I could
one
have
because
finished
think
that
about it often.
quote.
That
I think
quote.
about that one often.
Yeah, that is a good one. That is a really good one.
That one
I read that one and I was like, oh,
It's
okay.
like,
I
what did he say?
immediately tabbed and highlighted that. I was like, that's going on Instagram.
When I want to like,
you,
oh sorry.
no, go ahead.
When I want to like, when I read something like that and I'm like, that's gonna be an Instagram quote, I'll literally just put like 5 exclamation point marks, like, and when when you're reading on Kindle, you can put a note. I'll do that. And then I'll go back and like reread my highlights, and it's just like, okay, that one and that one, yeah, that was a good one, yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's this book. That book was like the first time I actually wanted to like write in a book. Like usually, I'll like tab it and then like leave it at that. I won't underline or anything because usually when I tab, I like whole scenes. Because sometimes for me, it's like a single line doesn't just capture what's everything going on in it, and I'm like a whole big picture kind of person, so I'll tab like the whole scene. But this time was like the first time where I was like, this line and this line and this quote and this paragraph, and it was like the first time I actually wanted to like write in the physical book, but I only had it like on eARC, so I was highlighting and adding little notes and everything.
I read the physical copy and I highlighted that. I was highlighting and I was like, I never highlight. Like, I want to keep my books pristine. I was like,
yeah,
Josh Chen would want me to be dirty, so I'm gonna do it.
this would make him happy.
Yeah,
this would make him happy.
This would boost his ego.
I'm popping that cherry. So
so I want to close with this last question.
Okay.
If you had to narrow down your long list, your long repertoire, what are 5 books that if you were meeting someone and they needed Rex, that you had to give it to them because it was like your reader duty to give them the 5 best books that you have?
Can I count series as books?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Zodiac Academy #1.
good job.
Let me see. #2, I would say Brutal Birthright. And / or Kingmakers, one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't want to have them both on the list. #3, I would say the Pack Darling duet by Lola Rock, which is Omegaverse. And then 4, hang on, let me pull up my Instagram so I can see what I've been reading. I would say, the Haunting Adeline, Hunting Adeline duet. And then lastly, oh my God, this is so hard.
It gets hard when you get to that last spot.
Oof, man. Oh, lastly, I would say the whole Priest series.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid group.
Yeah.
That is.
I haven't read the last one. I read the first 2. I'm excited to read the last one because
the last one, I was a mess.
I'm going to drive down to Kansas City and take a picture of downtown Kansas City behind the books because I'm from Kansas City.
Oh, cute. I love that.
So, and I definitely thought about stopping by the town and like taking a snap of like maybe the town sign and be like, if you know, you know.
You should
do it. Do it for the gram.
I'll do it over spring break.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll go down to see my family. I gotta hide those books.
It's a good list.
Yeah.
I feel like that list has like a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I like
and that's
that.
my reading style.
Yeah.
That's good though. That's good. You're not stuck to one thing. You gotta have. That's how I read too.
That's definitely everybody now because like it was like all fantasy and then romance woke everybody up and then everybody was like diving into romance and then realizing romance has so much to offer. And so now everybody's like broadening their horizons with romance.
Yeah. And we love to see it.
Yeah, we do.
Love to see it.
Yeah. Well, this is where we're gonna end because it is literally almost midnight where I am. And I still gotta film a couple TikToks to post tomorrow because I haven't posted in like over a week. So that's besides the point. But thank you, Maya, for coming on to our episode. All of your links will be down below. So everybody go follow her. Go like her most recent TikTok and Instagram posts and, you know, all that jazz. Show her some love. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Just the shop. We have our...
Oh, yeah. Just the shop. Valentine's Day. Be ready. It's going to be amazing.
Hope you enjoyed us getting down dirty and talking about nodding.
I loved Loved all the Omegaverse. Loved
Yeah.
all of that.
Zodiac Academy, loved it.
Zodiac
Talking about how to describe a
Listen, we hit all
penis.
the important things.
Yeah.
We hit all the important things.
Yeah.
We did.
We did.
Um,
Well,
so yeah.
Yeah, this was so
Thanks
fun.
for
Thank you guys for
listening.
having me.
yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye everybody.